Hi everyone, this is Ben with Roundtable Media. Here at Roundtable Media, we are dedicated to producing a variety of content. Whether it's news and information or education and entertainment, you're sure to find it here at Roundtable Media. If you're a fan of history, this is definitely the place you want to be. Visit historic locations with our History Across America series. We talk to people making a difference, and we visit some really cool locations in the process. Consider becoming a paid subscriber for as little as $8 a month or $129 a year. By becoming a paid subscriber, you have access to exclusive content, extended interviews, and up to 20% off prices on our online store. And your subscription allows us to continue to produce quality content for your screen. Watch us on your Roku device, Amazon Fire TV, or by downloading our app, available in the Apple App Store or Google Play. We also offer our viewers a travel booking engine similar to Expedia or Travelocity, where you can get up to 30% off your next hotel or resort. The link is in the description. Have a great day, be safe, and thank you so much for your support.
Introducing the ZenBody line of products now available for purchase on our website. ZenBean Infrared Brew is a one-of-a-kind nootropic coffee, expertly infrared roasted for a smooth, rich flavor. This premium blend goes beyond regular coffee by incorporating ingredients that naturally boost mood, energy, and focus. Also available in pods. Get your day started with Slim Brew Superfood Coffee, packed with powerful antioxidants and metabolism-boosting ingredients to support weight management, and it tastes like chocolate. Try their protein shake packed with 20 grams of protein, available in 4 delicious flavors. Become a subscriber for up to 20% off our online price. Simply go to our website to order.
Hi, I'm Ben Goss, executive producer of What's Up.
And I'm Tina Carter, the host of What's Up, or the hostess.
The hostess.
I'm the hostess.
Yeah,
I'm the hostess.
Yeah.
It's me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Over the last couple of years, you've seen us in attics, making snowballs, in the kitchen cooking. We've been everywhere.
Yeah.
But over the last year, we decided that we needed a change in our marketing and promotional structure.
Absolutely. Ben's right. You know, over the past 4 years, we have seen a lot of economic shifting going on, especially here in the CSRA. And what we know is businesses are under a little bit of duress, hopefully coming out of it now. But we've been impacted by everything that we've seen for the last 4 years. And so we feel that our passion is to go into businesses, events, arts and entertainment, everything local here in the CSRA, and actually help promote them.
Exactly, exactly.
So in the past, we have had a compensation schedule, and it has worked very, very well. It's been very economical and affordable for small businesses. But during this time, we feel a shift is needed. And so what we are doing is we are putting together a promotional plan for each and every business to have the opportunity to have us come in and promote their business.
Absolutely. We want to come into your business, find out what you do, find out what separates you, sets you apart from your competition. We want to get in your space and showcase you. Exactly, and come in and advocate for the consumer and to find out what makes you unique and different.
Absolutely, and it's not just businesses, just like you know, Ben and I, obviously small business owners, but it's arts and entertainment. Maybe someone with a campaign. Yeah, we've been doing some political things. So the possibilities are endless. We are working on everything from social media products. If you have a new business or a startup, or
Right.
any idea, anything like that, where you want a promotional video, we can come in and help you do that.
Awesome. And also, if you're a real estate agent,
Yep.
we'll come to your house that you have for sale and do a walk-in and tour
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
the house and market it.
That's right, marketing.
Yep.
And there are a lot of still for sale by owners.
Yep.
If they need our services, we are here and we are ready
Exactly.
to absolutely showcase you, your business, your product, whatever you have in the best light possible. Ben Goss has been doing this for years,
Yep.
and he is training me, and boy, good job.
You're getting better. You're improved. You're good.
Good.
You're going to be operating the camera for not too long.
That sounds
Yeah.
good. That sounds
Yeah,
good.
but I will not be hosting. I will not be in front of the camera. At least I try not to. Every now and then I have to step in when it's needed, but I much prefer being behind the camera.
There we go. But we would love to meet you. If you are someone who needs this type of service or a service maybe that we haven't thought of yet, we are open to new opportunity.
Yep.
And we look forward to hearing from you very, very soon. So reach out to us, connect with us, let us hear from you, and we are looking forward to meeting you very, very soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Take care. God bless, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.
What's Up is a departure from traditional advertising and marketing, offering a way to grow your business or enlarge your community event through visual strategies utilizing social media and television. Let us share you, your business, or event in a brand new light. Reach out to us today to discover how we can best serve you. Enjoy our content? Consider becoming a contributor today. Your support will help cover production costs and allow us to continue to bring quality content to your screen. Simply go to our website and hit the button at the top of the screen. As a thank you, your name will be featured in the closing credits of the show. Thank you for your support. What's Up and Roundtable Media are excited to offer their viewers discount hotel rates at more than 1 million properties worldwide using our exclusive travel booking portal. Save up to 35% on top brand hotels like Marriott and Hilton. Go to lifeunlimitedtravel.net and fill out the information. Whether it's a weekend getaway to Charleston, Orlando, or an adventure to the Bahamas, Europe, or Asia, we can save you money on your hotel with exclusive rates not available on public travel booking websites. Start planning your vacation today. Go to lifeunlimitedtravel.net. Travel portal and services are provided by Experience. Access to Travel Portal is a complimentary service to our viewers. Be safe. And now back to the show.
It was lived in by two prominent families in the 19th century. First the Woodruffs, then the Fontaine family, hence the title, Woodruff Fontaine House. The Woodruffs were here. They had the home built in 1871. They moved in 1871. They were only here till 1883. In 1883, the Fontaine family moved in. And the Fontaine family was here. Their time here in the mansion spanned close to 46 years. The death of the matriarch, Mrs. Virginia Fontaine, 1928, that actually put an end to the home being a private residence.
What would you describe the architect? Is it Victorian?
Now, technically, it's kind of lumped into the French Victorian category. However, it is Second Empire. Second Empire is a style that started popping up in France under the reign of Napoleon III. And when you look at the outside of our mansion, you'll see the beautiful sloped, what they call the mansard roof. And some of the architectural detailing was very popular for the Second Empire. So technically this is a Second Empire, and we'll just call it French Victorian because that's really what it is. And I love architecture, and that's another thing. I love it when guests come in with their knowledge of architectural styles too, because I've learned some things from guests.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
How big is the home?
Well, it's 6 levels when you count the basement all the way up to the uppermost level. We have 2 smaller levels that aren't for living purposes. We call it the tower. So you're 6 levels deep and you're over 11,000 square feet.
Wow.
The tower, 2 upper levels on the tower, 3 fully furnished floors of living space, and then our basement. So that's 6 levels.
Wow. So what can people expect when they come here for a tour?
They can expect to see some very lovely, beautiful antiquities. The majority of the antiques, they are period. They did not belong to family members. Some pieces here did belong to families that were donated back by their descendants. When we first opened in 1964, we were empty. We were open for architectural tours, and we started receiving donations. But they can expect to see some beautiful antiquities. We like to have stories with our pieces. They can see some lovely antique textiles. Depending on the season, they can see anything from a lovely summer frock to an exquisite ball gown from the 19th century. They can hear stories about our families, their prominence here in the city, and how they helped develop Memphis in the early days. It's an experience you just want to be here for. We host museum fundraising events. We have some really fun events through the year. We have twilight tours that we do at least once a month, where we do behind the scenes evening tours. And I love to bring guests through here so they can see how beautiful it looks in the evening. Twilight tours are very popular. Like I said, we do those like at least once a month. When we get closer to our really popular seasons of like September, October, November, I'll try to get more than one on the books because they are very popular and they will sell out. And it's lovely. You come through here and you see the low lights and the beautiful candles, fake candles, of course. So that's always fun to have people come in the evening. It's just, it takes it's a totally different look at the home, a totally different way the home looks. Okay, so over here, this is Amos and Phoebe Woodruff. These are watercolors of them when they were a bit younger. This is Amos and Phoebe, a bit older, and their 4 children. From the left over here, that is Sally. She was the eldest child. Over here is Molly, the second oldest, and then Corabelle and Frank, the 2 youngest. Frank was the youngest of all the children. And they also had a son that died in infancy. They are originally from Rahway, New Jersey. Mr. Woodruff was a very successful businessman in Rahway, New Jersey. He owned a very successful carriage making business at that time and many other businesses. He wanted to expand his company. So he came down from Rahway, New Jersey to Memphis in the mid-1840s because he wanted to see what opportunities were here to be had. We've been a city since 1819, but Memphis really started making waves across the nation when it was discovered how our neighboring states, Mississippi and Arkansas, how rich that delta soil was for things like cotton crops. And many opportunities to happen in Memphis, a newly formed port city. So here he comes from New Jersey, and he decides apparently straight away that he likes it. He wants to not just expand his business, but he wanted to become a community member. He wanted to make Memphis their permanent home, his family's permanent home. At that time, it was he and Phoebe, his wife, who, by the way, was never too crazy about moving down here to Memphis, which I can't really say that I blame her. She was a well-to-do, already established social maven right outside of New York City. So you can imagine it was kind of bleak, the thought of her coming down here to this, well, we can't say it any other way. It was a backwater, frontier, really nasty river town. It was 19th century America. But you know, Phoebe being a female, she didn't have any rights. Females had little to no rights in the 19th century. If you were married, you did what your husband said, so she had to come down here with Amos, and they started their family. Sally was born in New Jersey, and then they expanded their family, and when they first came here, they were living downtown because everything was going on just a few blocks east of the river. But in 1870, he purchased this 2-acre plot of land. Other gentlemen had started buying up parcels of land out here in what was then the outskirts of Memphis so they could get away from the city goings on, kind of that filth and what have you, and have some land, a little bit of land out here, and have a prestigious home built. And Amos wanted Phoebe to feel like the queen of her own castle. She would go back to New Jersey homesick, and he was wanting that to kind of like, come on, Phoebe, let's stay put. So the story goes, this is a story that's always been passed down to us, that the mansion was built to appease Phoebe. And that's not a bad thing. She needed to be appeased. She sacrificed a lot to come down here. So they broke ground in 1870 and moved in 1871 in late autumn. They were only here about 12 years though. A lot of work for only being here about 12 and a half years. Okay, so in 1883, after the Woodruffs were only here about 12 and a half years, sadly, there were circumstances that they could not control that made them sell the mansion. One of those being Memphis during the yellow fever epidemics of the 1870s. They were horrific. 1873, the Woodruffs had only been here a couple of years. 1873, a bout of fever came through, yellow fever. It was really bad. It was horrific. But only around 2,000 souls died. I say only 2,000 because 5 years later, in 1878, it was literally hell on earth here. Fever came rolling through in early August, and it did not let up until the first hard frost at the end of October. And take in mind that at that time in American history, they still did not know yet what was causing the fever. We know now, of course, and we're very well protected in our part of the world, it's mosquito-borne, it's mosquito-transmitted. At that time, they had a feeling it had to do with some summer, some water, some swamps, etc. But it was every man for himself. We have to do what we can do. But there was no, at that time, there weren't like really strict sanitary protocol in cities, etc. That would come after. But anyway, so Mr. Woodruff, like many businessmen here at that time after 1878, Memphis was left like a ghost town. We were just under 50,000 in early 1878. Memphis was to be the New York City of the South. We were growing so fast. We were just leaps and bounds. We were producing more millionaires at that time in the country than any other place in the United States, and we were bound for glory. However, once that fever set upon us in 1878, it was, like I said, hell on earth. After the hard frost in October, when the dust settled, as they say, and the air cleared, we were down to possibly around 7,000 to 9,000 people. There was a mass exodus in the early days of the fever. If you weren't dying from it, you were running from it. That's how it was. And most of those people that ran from it just would not come back. And Memphis was left a ghost town. Many businesses closed down. Mr. Woodruff, of course, like many other businessmen, really their personal fortunes took a huge hit. That combined with some national gold panics that went through. The price of gold bottomed out, and those were heavily invested. They lost a ton of what they had worked so hard to acquire. Mr. Woodruff being one of those. They had to make the hard decision to sell the mansion in the early 1880s. So in comes this beautiful couple right here. This is Nolan and Virginia Fontaine. Nolan Fontaine was born in Terre Haute, Indiana, but he was raised in Louisville. His family, the Fontaine family, they go back generations in Louisville, Kentucky. He came to Memphis in 1861 at the age of 21. And like many other men at that time, he was coming to establish some type of career, some type of business opportunities. First, though, he fell in love with Virginia Eanes. She was a local young lady, and they got married in 1864. Now, in 1883, he was the founder of one of the most successful cotton factory and wholesale grocery businesses in the United States. It was actually the largest and most successful in the United States and third in the world. He and his partner named Napoleon Hill. He was doing quite well because he came to Kentucky, a little inexperienced. He had some money, but it was family money. But he was 21 years of age, the 19th century, a 21-year-old man, and you're an adult, son. A little bit inexperienced, but he was educated and he was very shrewd. So when he partnered with Napoleon Hill, it was nothing but good times, you know, building businesses. And cotton was king here in Memphis. That's what we used to be called, King Cotton. So he got in on the right market. Mr. Woodruff had dabbled in it, But everything of his took a beating after the yellow fever and the gold panics I spoke of. So he and Virginia get married in 1864. In early 1883, he is really just getting to the top of his game, and his family is growing, and he knows that Mr. Woodruff is needing to sell the home on Adams Avenue. So he goes to Mr. Woodruff because they were business associates. They did know one another. How close they were as far as friends, we don't know, but they did know one another. But Mr. Fontaine also knew there was pride at stake. He couldn't just go up to Mr. Woodruff and say, Amos, I hear you broke. Give me your house. It was nothing like that. There was pride at stake. They struck a gentleman's agreement. They actually traded homes, and the Fontaines gave the Woodruffs $40,000. The Woodruffs were not destitute, but they had really fallen. Their fortune had really fallen. So I imagine that $40,000 and a simple home swap was a blessing to them. So Phoebe Woodruff could go and move into a very well-established, fashionable town home that had been established by the Fontaines. So she did not have to go even back to New Jersey or go and find some lower class housing. That would have been such a disgrace for Madam Phoebe. I would hate to think that would happen. So it was, we'll say, a win-win. But we don't know. We don't know. There was probably some heartache involved, a little bit of business maneuvering that maybe seems a little not quite ethical maybe to us today. We don't know. But they moved in 1883, 6 children. They would have 3 more that were born here in the mansion. They lost a child at 11 months old, but they still raised 8 children here, 4 girls and 4 boys. Very well-loved family. They were the glamour couple here when they moved into onto Adams Avenue, Millionaires Row as it became known as. Because we look at them, they were young, they were beautiful, they're about 20 years younger than the Woodruffs. And they were, I made this reference before, the Brangelina of the day, but you know, Brangelina, they're divorced, but you get the reference, yeah? So they had well-known parties. Whenever some dignitaries, presidents, governors, President Grover Cleveland came to this mansion more than once. Mr. Fontaine was always at the forefront. He and Napoleon Hill and a few other distinguished gentlemen in town would be at the forefront of greeting the dignitaries. And they came from all over the world. And this was the couple that they wanted to meet. So, Mr. Fontaine has been a very successful businessman for many years in the city of Memphis. He passed away at the age of 72 in September of 1912. Lovely Virginia lived about 16 years longer, and she died peacefully upstairs in her bedroom in 1928, surrounded by children and grandchildren. Wow. We strive to continue the legacy of both families today. We hope that we do them proud. We're very respectful. We expect that of our guests. We have very few rules when you come here. The usual, don't touch our antiques, etc. Don't taunt anybody. Don't look at a photo and just be respectful, be kind. Our lovely proper parlor, also known as the ballroom. The mansion is large, but it is not large enough to have a separate ballroom. Now the families, being prominent families with full social calendars, socializing would have been a norm. Mm-hmm. And this room was very important when they were entertaining. And the servants would come and move all the furniture out, leaving this lovely large room for guests to mingle and dance, etc. So this was, let's say, the party room of the home. And that's why we refer to it as the ballroom. And technically it's the proper parlor. Every Victorian home, no matter the economic status of the home, they would have had a proper parlor. That's something you would strive for in your home. So what we have on now on our mannequins, we are very fortunate here at the Woodruff Fontaine that we have had so many generous benefactors, and they've not only donated furnishings, china, crystal, etc., but also beautiful, beautiful vintage clothing. These are from turn of the century going into the early 1910s and teens. If you want to say all the fun was held here on the first floor with the parties and the soirees, well, the second floor, that's where all the family secrets played out. That's where the families lived the majority of their lives. Up here on the second and third floors, private family time. Back in the 19th century and in portions of the 20th century, of course, outside entertainment had become available, but on average, a family just didn't go to the cinema or the plays or the opera houses as often as you would think. They did start going more and more as it became available, but the majority of their personal time was spent here in their homes. Their homes were their world, and their world was inside their homes. Now the Fontaines, they did a lot of outside socializing. Memphis had some very fine opera houses at one time. We were in the cutting edge of having the early cinemas where those new films were being shown, and there were all kinds of outside entertainment venues that started becoming available. However, we as a modern society, we do a lot of socializing outside of our home. We do the majority of things outside of our home, I think it's safe to say. I know there are millions and millions of homebodies around the world, but we also as a people like to be out in the world. At that time, their home was their world. So they spent a huge part of time upstairs. This was the master bedroom of the home. We do have some of the Fontaine's belongings here. That was Mrs. Fontaine's beautiful mahogany writing desk. That was a mirror that belonged to the Fontaines. It's up there on the mantle now. When the Woodruffs moved in, their daughter Molly, who was 19 at the time, got married downstairs. And when she came back from a 2-month honeymoon in New Orleans, she and her new husband settled here. This was their bedroom. On the other side of the bed is a door that connects to the second room, and that was their parlor. Okay. So that's the way it would work in those days. Again, you didn't really hang out so much on the first floor if you weren't entertaining. So you spent your family time up here. So bedroom, connected parlor. Like across the hall, there's a connected parlor from the family, the master bedroom. We're open Wednesday through Sunday from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m.
And people can go online to purchase tickets?
They absolutely can go online to purchase tickets. They can come in the day of and purchase them right here in the mansion, or they can go online for their convenience. We offer both, and we take credit cards online, of course credit cards and cash in the museum once you get here.
Awesome. What do you hope that guests take away after the tour?
I will tell you, the best thing for me is when our guests compliment with things such as, it is so beautiful, it looks as though someone's still living here. It is exquisite. I always get a really good feeling when people say, it looks like someone's living here, it's alive with beautiful furnishings. That is what I love, because I'm like, that's what we strive for. We stage the home as though the family is still here. Families that lived here, that they're still here, they're carrying out their daily routine. So people will get a sense of the hard work and the preservation efforts. It's not easy. I mean, honestly, it's not. It's run on a tiny staff and some volunteers. We wouldn't be here without volunteers. I started as a volunteer. So we like it when people compliment our hard work. We know it's paid off.
What's Up is a departure from traditional advertising and marketing, offering a way to grow your business or enlarge your community event through visual strategies utilizing social media and television. Let us share you, your business, or event in a brand new light. Reach out to us today to discover how we can best serve you. Enjoy our content? Consider becoming a contributor today. Your support will help cover production costs and allow us to continue to bring quality content to your screen. Simply go to our website and hit the button at the top of the screen. As a thank you, your name will be featured in the closing credits of the show. Thank you for your support.
I'm Tina Carter.
And
Who are you?
I don't know who I am.
Okay, you ready?
Okay.
I'm Tina Carter.
And I'm Ben Goss, executive producer of What's Up. Okay, I'm supposed to continue. Okay. Hi, I'm Ben. Hi, I'm Ben Goss. Hi, I'm What's Up. I am what's up. I am what's up. Yep, that's me. 3, 2, 1.
Who are you?
I'm Ben.
Uh-huh.
Ben, yeah. 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Ben Goss with Bailey.
Hush, what's up?
What's Up and Roundtable Media are excited to offer their viewers discount hotel rates at more than 1 million properties worldwide using our exclusive travel booking portal. Save up to 35% on top brand hotels like Marriott and Hilton. Be safe. And now back to the show.
Hey, how would you like to win some tickets to the Atlanta Braves home game throughout the 2025 season? If the answer to that question is yes, go to our website, roundtabletv.net, and scroll down the homepage, and you will see trivia contest. Answer all 5 questions correctly, and you will be entered into a drawing to win Braves tickets. And we'll be doing this throughout the 2025 season. So you can also purchase tickets on our website as well for select Atlanta Braves home games. So look forward to giving away tickets this year, and go Braves.
Hi everyone, this is Ben with Roundtable Media. Here at Roundtable Media, we are dedicated to producing a variety of content. Whether it's news and information or education and entertainment, you're sure to find it here at Roundtable Media. If you're a fan of history, this is definitely the place you want to be. Visit historic locations with our History Across America series. We talk to people making a difference, and we visit some really cool locations in the process. Consider becoming a paid subscriber for as little as $8 a month or $129 a year. By becoming a paid subscriber, you have access to exclusive content, extended interviews, and up to 20% off prices on our online store. And your subscription allows us to continue to produce quality content for your screen. Watch us on your Roku device, Amazon Fire TV, or by downloading our app, available in the Apple App Store or Google Play. We also offer our viewers a travel booking engine similar to Expedia or Travelocity, where you can get up to 30% off your next hotel or resort. The link is in the description. Have a great day, be safe, and thank you so much for your support.
John Drayton purchased this property in 1738. We think he started constructing sometime soon thereafter, and they're probably moving into the house at the end of the 1740s, maybe early 1750s. This house is older than the United States of America. When John purchased this property and started building, George Washington was 6 years old. Thomas Jefferson wasn't born yet.
That is awesome. That's cool to think about.
Yeah.
Do we know much about John Drayton?
John Drayton is really a man of mystery. We do not have many records that survive from his life. We know he was born around 1715, died in 1779, fleeing the British. And in those intervening years, he amassed an empire that reached about 76,000 acres all over South Carolina and Georgia. And so this property, Drayton Hall, is really just the center of that plantation empire that he built. This house was constructed in the 1730s, 1740s, and then the family did very little to it in the intervening generations. And so the National Trust has decided to treat the house like an artifact, which means we don't try to restore it to a particular time period. We do work very hard to conserve all the original craftsmanship. So all of the hand-carved moldings are still there, handmade bricks, all of these things we're trying to protect. So when people come here, what they are looking at is the real artifact. This room in the 19th century was the dining room of Drayton Hall. So when this house was first built, we actually don't know what they were using the rooms for, and it was really common for them to use each room for several different functions. But in the 19th century, Charles Drayton actually drew a floor plan of his house, and he labeled some of the rooms, and he labeled this as the dining room. And this really makes sense for us because in this room you can actually see the spiral staircase that led down to the cellar where enslaved people prepared all the meals for the household, and then they would come up this staircase and directly into this room where they could serve meals. The staircase continues all the way up to the attic today. This is how I get into the attic if I need to go up there and do anything. And so I can say from experience, these stairs are small. They're very narrow, it's dark. And so sometimes I imagine, what if I was carrying a plate of food or somebody's laundry or a full chamber pot up and down these stairs? So this is really part of the working heart of this house where enslaved people were moving through the house behind closed doors, but keeping the place going. This room also features a really kind of unusual open doorway. So there's this door here, but then there's this other one that's bricked up. We get a lot of questions about this. This is an original load-bearing brick wall. This has been a door to nowhere forever. So they actually just built this for symmetry. They had a real door over here. They built a fake door on the other side. So you couldn't see the brick. They put a door in front of it, but it didn't go anywhere. And then it was removed. We think the Drayton family took it out so that they could just put a shelf here. But because it's gone, you can see some really strange things. So there's this decorative brickwork right here. We call this a diaper pattern. There's no reason for this to be here. It was totally hidden. So we think the mason was just practicing. He was trying a new skill in a place where you could mess up and it doesn't matter. So you can see fingerprints in this brick. There's 3 fingerprints in here. And so this survives in this brick because they were all handmade. So someone was forming the clay here and tempering it, and then they would put this clay into molds. And after it came out of a mold, someone had to stack all of these soft bricks to dry before they could be fired in a kiln. And so in that process of stacking those bricks, they're still soft enough that you could leave fingerprints in them. These fingerprints were probably made by an enslaved child. They were often the ones tasked with stacking these bricks. And so you can come to Drayton Hall and look very closely at all the bricks and find lots of examples of where people have literally left their mark on the building, and it survives 3 centuries later.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. This room has an original hand-carved plaster ceiling. So this plaster ceiling was created by someone laying on their back on scaffolding, carving this design out of wet plaster. And it survived from the 1740s with almost no intervention from us. So we're still studying the design of this ceiling. We're learning lots of things in this room. One of the mysteries that we're still trying to work out actually has to do with some strange carvings in between some of our windows over here. So if you look right here, see those carvings there? So there's carvings on that side and on the opposite side of this pier. So the space between the windows is called a pier. There would have been a mirror hanging here. They probably ordered it from London and waited months and months for it to arrive. And then when it got here, it didn't fit. So they made it fit. So this just makes me laugh when I see it because it reminds me that people had really similar problems then as they do today. You ordered your mirror, you're really excited about it, it doesn't fit, and so you make it work. And that's exactly what's happening here. So we haven't seen this mirror, it doesn't survive that we know of, but we can trace these carvings and actually try to rebuild it based on these carvings so we can have an idea what it looked like. To accommodate
for the mirror.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So that kind of tells us more or less what the shape of it was.
Wow.
Because
Cool.
they had to jam it in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
There is a Drayton family growth chart that survives in the house. So the oldest entry we can find on here is from the 1880s, and it has been in continuous use since then. So you will see marks on here from recent years. The Drayton family still comes out to measure little family members on here. So April 8th, 1915, Miss Charlotta Drayton measured her dog Nipper and put Nipper on the growth chart. We have photos of Nipper. He was not a Great Dane, he was a Bull Terrier. So Nipper cheated. And we actually had the opportunity to talk to Miss Charlotta's nephew, Charlie Drayton, about Nipper the dog. And I asked him if Nipper was a biter, if that's how he got his name. And he was like, no, he was a nice dog. He doesn't know why she named him Nipper. But here you go. He's memorialized in the growth chart here. In the upper Great Hall right now, and you can see that it's a big empty space. We don't have any furniture in here, and that's because the furniture in our collection is very old, very well made. We want to take great care of it, but this house is unconditioned. There's no heat, there's no air conditioning. It's not a great place to take really good care of furniture like that. So you can see the Drayton furniture in our gallery on site, just not in the house. This blue-green paint that you see on the walls dates to 1870 or 1880, so it's post-Civil War. And we've actually done a ton of work to conserve it and keep it on the walls. So what we actually did was we borrowed a technique from the fine art conservation world. So we sprayed a solution onto the walls, and then we took sheets of Mylar and went foot by foot and pressed all of the paint into the wall. So it's totally invisible, doesn't have any sheen or anything, but it helps hold that original paint in place. And that's what a lot of our preservation work looks like here. We don't want you to notice all the things that we're doing to hold the line, basically, and keep everything as it was as much as possible. So it looks a little shabby, but it's the real deal. It's original, and we really like that about it.
That's cool. Do we know what kind of wood?
Yeah, they used a lot of different kinds of wood in the house. So the paneling is cypress, there's tulip poplar framing, there's oak, there's longleaf yellow pine. They used all kinds of different materials. They also imported stone from England. All the columns are Portland limestone. Glass probably all came from England. So they were bringing a lot of materials from all over the place. So we're often doing archaeology on the property as well. We have 2 full-time archaeologists on staff, and they are currently doing an excavation inside of the main house. We've got another excavation happening just outside of the house, and so if you come while they're working, they're happy to show you what's coming out of the ground.
And what are some of those things y'all discovered?
Some of the artifacts that we've seen recently include a megalodon tooth and ceramics. We've got pieces of the house like tiles that line the fireboxes, massive glass bottles that may have held gin or wine. So there's all kinds of very different things coming out of the ground. So Drayton Hall has a website that people can visit. You can purchase tickets online. We're open 6 days a week. And you can also engage with us on social media. We often share content on our Facebook and Instagram pages. We'll occasionally do a YouTube video, and we've been known to do live videos where people can tell me where they want to go in the house, and we'll look at whatever you want to look at in real time.